buying the building, I'm gonna be real. That's more 50. He's like a super villain. You're a villain, but he's a super villain.
Oh, I'll buy your shit.
Yeah, I mean, buying the whole building is kind of.
I mean, if it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, hey, just add it to your
Especially
portfolio.
If it's a building in New York, you can always do something with it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So basically, I don't know. They've been talking crazy about 50, and so 50 is taking aim.
All right, let's get straight to it. This ain't about rap beef. This ain't about music. This is about money, leverage, and business getting exposed in public. 50 Cent just pulled a move that had the internet shocked. He reached out to a landlord connected to the Let's Rap About It podcast, found out they're behind on rent by at least $80,000, maybe even $180,000, and then basically said, if they can't pay, let me know. That right there, that's not trolling, that's business. And today we're breaking down what really happened, why people are mad, why others say 50 did nothing wrong, and what this says about podcasting, leverage, and the rap game right now. Let's talk about it.
Mino has responded angrily to 50 Cent's accusation that the Let's Rap About It podcast owes $250,000 for the location where they record the show. These guys are squatters. They owe $250,000 for the space they are.
This wasn't a diss, this was a chess move. Everybody keeps asking, did 50 go too far? But the real question is, did he just play the game better than everybody else? Because once money gets involved, feelings don't matter. Let's start with the foundation, the lease. The landlord says one of the podcast partners signed a lease and now owes at least $80,000, possibly as high as $180,000 in unpaid rent. That's not internet gossip. That's months of rent stacking up. The issue is, the tenant keeps saying, we're building it out, but refuses to actually sign a new lease. He wants 6 months of build-out time with no rent, which the landlord says is ridiculous. And from a business standpoint, that is ridiculous. Commercial real estate doesn't work on vibes. It works on contracts. And that's where it gets messy, because this wasn't just a lease. There's a partnership agreement involved. Here's where things get real uncomfortable. The landlord claims there's a deal where half of the media content being produced belongs to the building owner. That means half the podcast, half the platform, half the upside, all tied to the real estate. In simple terms, they didn't just rent space, they gave up ownership. And on top of that, the creators aren't even being transparent about how much money they're making. No numbers, no clear accounting, just dodging questions. That's a nightmare scenario in business. Never mix creative control with rent. The moment your landlord owns part of your content, you already lost leverage. Now here's where the story takes a turn. 50 Cent posts a conversation with the landlord, Samuel, on his page. At first, people thought it was fake, but then it became clear. 50 already had a relationship with this landlord, and 50 didn't come in loud. He didn't diss, he didn't joke, he asked questions. How much are they behind? What's the deal structure? Who owns what? That's not trolling, that's due diligence. Then he says something simple but powerful. If you're having trouble collecting rent, let me know. That one sentence shook everybody, because that's when people realized what this was. This wasn't gossip. This was leverage scouting. The landlord claims he owns half of what artists like Jim Jones, Mano, Dave East, and Fabulous are doing at that studio. The setup is basically a production deal. Think of it like this. You have the brand, the audience, the vision, but not the money. The landlord has the building and the cash. So he says, build your studio here. Let's see how the YouTube money and ratings do. Then we'll figure it out. That sounds cool, until it's not. Because now the building owner has ownership, leverage, and control. If things go left, you're stuck.
What's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through.
Real estate owners don't bet on dreams, they bet on paper. And paper always beats passion. Anyone who's been in business longer than 5 minutes will tell you this. You never give a commercial landlord creative control over your brand. You lease the space. You pay triple net. You pay insurance. You pay utilities. But you don't give up half your product. Because what happens when you blow up? What if the podcast gets massive and you want to move studios, expand, or sell the brand? Now you can't. because the building owns you. That's not partnership. That's a trap. And that's why business always breaks friendships. Because business isn't emotional. Here's the part people don't like hearing. Business doesn't care how talented you are.
He signed a lease with me. Right now he owes, I'm going to say it in a short way, at least $80,000, if not $180,000. The monthly rent on the old lease, not just want to rent it. And I said, okay, fine.
Business doesn't care about legacy. Business doesn't care about feelings. Either the rent is paid or it's not. Either the numbers make sense or they don't. That's why public companies have earnings calls. That's why shareholders vote. That's why contracts exist. So when people say 50 went too far, the counter argument is simple. If he saw an opportunity and took it, that's business. Business isn't love, it's leverage. And whoever has leverage makes the rules. Here's another key point people are missing. Commercial real estate right now is a buyer's market. Offices are empty. People work remote. Studios aren't printing money like they used to. That means landlords are hungry, but also strategic. If someone can't pay $80,000 to $180,000 in rent, and someone else can buy into the business, guess who wins? That's not personal. That's math. And then there's AI. Let's talk about the future real quick. AI is coming fast. Jobs are disappearing. Content is being automated. Platforms are cutting budgets. And when there's less money in music, artists pivot. They do podcasts. They do merch. They do brand deals. They leverage celebrity, not product. But the problem is, everyone is doing it now. The gold rush is over. The early podcast winners already won. Joe Budden, Jillian Wallow, drink champs. They jumped in early. They built audiences before the market got crowded. They locked deals when platforms were desperate. Now, everybody has a podcast. Why would platforms keep writing $10 million checks when the audience is split 1,000 ways? If you don't have production, strategy, and capital, you're scrambling. And scrambling kills leverage. Which brings us back to 50 Cent. Because 50 understands this game. 50 Cent doesn't move emotionally. He looks for who's overextended, who's underfunded, who's exposed. If the debt is real, $80,000 to $180,000, and there's an opportunity to buy into a brand at a discount, that's leverage, and leverage is power. You might not like how it looks, but it's clean business. If you don't control your business, someone else will, every time. Let's be fair, musically, these guys are legends, but business-wise, you can't be sloppy. You can't give someone the chance to expose that you don't really have the money, because if you do, someone will exploit it. That's not hate, that's reality. So what happens next? That's the million-dollar question. Right now, there are really only two paths forward, and neither one is comfortable. The first path is the hard one. They clean it up. That means paying what's owed, even if it hurts. That means sitting down with the landlord, restructuring the deal, tightening the numbers, and taking back control of their business piece by piece. That route takes humility, discipline, and real cash. No excuses, no delays, just handling it. But let's be honest, if that was easy, it probably would have happened already. The second path is where leverage comes in. This is where someone with money, connections, and patience steps in and says, I'll solve the problem, but it won't be free. That's how buyouts happen. That's how ownership changes hands. And that's how people lose control of something they built because they didn't have enough runway to protect it. Now here's the key part people are overlooking. If 50 is already talking to the landlord, that means he's not guessing. He's confirming numbers. He's checking pressure points. He's seeing how deep the hole really is. And once someone like 50 has that information, the clock starts ticking. Because even if he doesn't buy them out tomorrow, he now knows exactly when and how he could. That's power. And when power enters the conversation, the leverage has already shifted. This whole situation is a lesson. Talent without structure is risky. Fame without capital is dangerous. And business without leverage is a setup. You don't have to like 50's move, but you have to respect the strategy. Because at the end of the day, whoever holds the goal makes the rules, always. So I'm asking you, are you with 50? Or do you think he went too far? Is this smart business or foul play? And do you think he's really going to buy them out? Drop your take in the comments. If you rock with breakdowns like this, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.